My name is Christy Cardillo, and this is the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. Thank you for being here. Special welcome to our guests. It's great to have you. If you would all stand and please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Brett is going to give us our invocation.
Bow with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this club and all its members. Thank you for the Kiwanis organization around the world. Please pray for those who could not be with us today and those who may be ill or just could not make it. Now let's bless the food to our nourishment and to the hands that prepared it for us. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Champ. He did an eating contest last week, and he's like a last-minute guy. I didn't just ask him to do anything. Okay. So we have many guests in the meeting today. We want to welcome you all. We have Henry Lawrence in the audience. And then we also have Kevin Chapman and Camille Breton in the online. So we want to make sure we welcome all of them. If you want to join, please reach out to an officer or to Sharon Garhorst, Jack Powers, Jenny Amig. Everybody is happy to share what they know about Kiwanis, Bradenton Kiwanis, and how you join. For announcements, if you're here in person today, please note the theater has a mandate for wearing your mask inside the building. While you're eating, you can take it off, and then we ask that you put it back on once you finish eating. Our meetings are now held both in Zoom and in person, and if you would like to join us in person, you just need to purchase a ticket through the box office for $13.50 by the Friday before the Tuesday meeting. All of our meetings are online and what the topics are, and Gilbert has been doing a great job with his program group and coming up with wonderful topics. The club will be having a board meeting on January 20th. It's a Wednesday at Pier 22. And then at this time, Neil has an announcement for community activities.
Thank you, Christy. This is not to ask for volunteers right now, although we could ask for volunteers if you wanted to help out at the fair. We have a fair booth coming up. 14th through the 24th. There is sign-up available on Portal Buzz if you would have that desire. Actually, this is in recognition of the volunteer services that we performed in December. We received a letter from the Salvation Army through Kelly French, who's here. Our organization helped raise $1,151.80 over the 2 days that we and thank you again to all that helped out during that endeavor.
Now at this time I would like to invite Gilbert to come up to the podium and give our history.
Well, hello everybody, and I cannot be up here without welcoming Henry Lawrence, who I called, and after that, Jenny took over because she knows him a lot better than I do. But we're really delighted to have Henry here today, and we look forward to having him back on February 2nd when he will be the program. When I left off, we were in 1945, and now we're in 1946. And programs created by World War II were winding down, including the rationing that had been under the Office of Price Administration. Other programs were created, like the GI Bill, which encouraged men and women who had served in the military to go to college. And so, I cannot see everybody in the audience, but for those in the audience and for those of you on Zoom, how many of you or your families benefited from the GI Bill? And I for one, and I know there's a lot of families out there who have, and were benefited by that time. The Nuremberg trials continue to be almost all year long with the prosecution of prominent members of the political, military, judicial, and economic leadership of Nazi Germany, who planned, carried out, and otherwise participated in the Holocaust or other war crimes. Guilty verdicts were rendered in November, early November, and then on October, in early October, and then on October 16th, they were executed. Now, throughout the history of Bradenton Kiwanis, there have been many fathers whose sons or daughters, or grandsons or granddaughters, followed them to become members of the club. This week, we're going to talk about one of those families. The next slide is William Ulysses Bill Laprop Sr. And this is a photo of William Laprop Sr. And he was a charter member of the club in 1922. He was the first district manager of the Peninsula Telephone Company in Manatee County. And he was the only telephone company at that time, and not many people had telephones. So the next photo is a picture of a telephone pole they're putting up in 1905 on Main Street in Bradenton. And if we can go to the next slide, then they were putting up one also on Manatee Avenue, and that's what the second photo is.
It's the same, told you.
There's also, and this is looking east on Manatee Avenue in 1905. It looked a little different at that time. Now, the next photo is going to be Ulysses, William Ulysses Bill Laprop Jr. This is the son of the man we just saw, the charter member. And like I said, there's so many families who have had a father, or now even a mother that could have been a member of the club, who has now followed their parent into the club. And on Thursday, January 2nd, 1946, the Bradenton Kiwanis Club held its Ladies' Night and Installation Dinner at the Manatee River Hotel. Dewey Dye Sr. began the evening as the Toastmaster and ceremonies, and Mayor Charles Ward was the keynote speaker. Then Gabby Knowles, who we know was a past president also, swore in Bill Laprop Jr. as the 1946 president, along with the other elected officers and directors. His swearing in, we brought a man who was dedicated to the telephone industry, but he had also established himself as a leader in the community. He was born in 1908 in Bradenton, when that's what the name of the town was called, and to his father, William Ulysses, and Ellie Mae Butcher Laprop. He grew up in Bradenton and graduated from Bradenton High School, and he remembered as a young man growing up that rarely did a telephone ring after dark. And as I stated, he followed his father into the same industry with Peninsula Telephone Company in 1929. He started from the bottom as a switchman, wire chief, exchange manager, and then superintendent. He went off to Lakeland, and with a position with the Southern District manager of Peninsula Telephone Company, where he served and came to prominence over there. Then in 1943, he returned to Bradenton to become the manager of the same company that his father had for many years. He also took over responsibility of Sarasota County. Now, he was involved in the community extensively in the Bradenton Chamber of Commerce and also the Salvation Army, Goodwill Industries, Kiwanis Foundation. He was also in the Sarasota Kiwanis Club for a point in time, and when he worked down there with his new position. But he also was involved with the South Florida Museum, which I'll talk about in just a few minutes. And after 43 years in the industry, he retired in 1972, but he stayed involved in the community. And he died in 1984 at 76 years old. Now, the next photo is a photo of not the boys' club that Mac went to when he was a boy, but this was there in a little earlier than that, in the late 40s. And in February 1946, the Boys Club of Manatee County, under the guidance of this club and other civic groups and interested individuals, began the operations of the affiliated member of the Boys Club of America. And the first meetings were not in this building, but they were in a wood-framed building which had been used as a field house for the Major League Baseball team training in Bradenton. The old Boston Braves continued to use the building as a dressing room during the season and during spring training, but then later the boys would use the same facility. And it's very interesting that the club during that year, in 1946, funded the Boys Club with $7,500, which was a substantial amount of money in 1946. And over the years, this club has not only been a supporter of the Boys Club, but has also been at times acting like a partner. Now we're going to meet in a few weeks a man by the name of Marion T. Snooks McGinnis, and who was the clerk of the court here for many years, but he in 1946 became the director of the Boys Club of Manatee County. And in the club, they used to sing songs. A lot of you probably remember these same songs. This year, in 1946, Bill Manning is the song leader, and the members of the club would sing The Girl That I Married throughout the year by Irving Berlin. Now the next slide is a picture up here. During 1946, leaders of the community, including some people here in this club, determined and met to start a museum. And some of those leaders included the president of the club at that time, President Laprop, and other Kiwanis, including Dr. William Sugg, who we talked about before, H. Shelton Moody, we talked about before, Gabby Knowles. All of these people I'm mentioning were presidents. Then Dan Blaylock Sr., Walter Harding, R.M. Bell, Paul Davis, who we're going to hear about more soon, and J.P. Harley. And so they were the group that got together in 1946 to talk about and come up with an idea and a plan for a museum, which was going to be on the pier. And this is a photo of the pier, what it looked like in the 1940s. Now, on December 17, 1946, at the regular monthly luncheon, A. Sterling Hall was elected as the 1947 president, along with William J. Ray and Robert Willis, who you're going to hear a lot about in the next few weeks, as vice presidents, William Day as secretary-treasurer, and Paul Davis, Walter Harding, Henry Land, B.H. Pope, Elon Rood, who we heard a lot about last week, Alan Waddell, Charles Wooten, and the past president, of course, Bill Laprop, as directors. And we're going to hear next week in 1947 a lot about A. Sterling Hall, and it's going to be interesting because we're going to have the new mayor here to be our speaker next week. And so this was 1 year after, the next year after the war had ended, and the club had really a banner year in recruiting that year, and including some members of Egbert R. Bell, Snooks McGinnis, as we just talked about, and W.E. Page Jr. with the Bradenton Herald. So I'll see you next week, and we're in 1947. And Christy, do you want to go ahead and I'm going to ask for J.B. Tucker to come up and introduce our guest today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to be here. I have the opportunity of introducing our next guest. When I first learned about First Tee, I thought it was a great opportunity for the youth in our community. Sports played an integral role in my development, and I'm very passionate about sharing that opportunity with the youth of today. So much can be learned through sports, how to get along with other people from different backgrounds, how to put aside differences for the sake of the team, self-confidence, the list goes on. Our next guest, Andy Mears, is the Development Director for the First Tee, an organization that focuses on the development of our kids in the community through the game of golf. So if we could please welcome Andy Mears.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today on behalf of the First Tee of Sarasota, Manatee, and the 4,000 plus kids that we currently work with here in the two-county area. Always like to start out with a little history lesson, if I may. Just tell you a little bit about myself. Once upon a time, as a young man, I was the assistant golf professional at Palmer Country Club back in 1981 and 82, and left here in April of 83 to head off to England to teach golf. And I remember telling my friends last night that I was here, going away party. I coined the phrase before Arnold Schwarzenegger did. I said, "I'll be back." Well, it only took 37 years, but I made my way back, and now happily back in the Sarasota Manatee area. And it goes to show you that dreams really do come true, because this area has always been, to me, my adopted hometown area. I'm originally from the Kalamazoo, Michigan area, and I've had a great chance to talk to some folks today about Michigan, so I appreciate that. As a development director for this area, in this chapter, the First Tee is, at its core, a youth development organization. First Tee headquarters is up in St. Augustine, Florida. They're at the World Golf Village, and it's an international organization. We have 170 chapters across the United States, but we have another 40 chapters across the globe. So we have reached, in our formed in 1997, we have reached over 50 million youth and helped them not only become good golfers, but more importantly, become better people. And how we do it is very simple. We do a seamless integration of a sport, the game of golf, which, how many of you, by the way, play golf? We have family members that play golf. We know a little bit about golf, maybe putt-putt golf, anything. Golf is an inherently great sport for learning life skills. Golf is all about honesty and integrity and sportsmanship and getting along with other people. And these are some of the core values that the First Tee teaches, and as we work in our golf skills with the kids. With 170 chapters across the country, we are all, in a sense, franchises, if you will. We are responsible for organizing our programs, reaching out to the community, raising our funds to operate. So everything we do is pretty self-contained. Of course, headquarters is there to support those efforts, and through their financial means, support us however they may and however they can. Here in Sarasota, Manatee, our two counties, what we try to do is reach out to kids through the schools, particularly the middle schools, elementary schools as well. We work with third-party organizations, boys and girls clubs. We're talking right now with the Police Athletic League. We've gone into private schools, church organizations, and of course we promote the First Tee to families just in a general sense, right? We reach out in numerous ways to bring kids into the fold of the First Tee and get them started. We have three main categories of kids. We have our little Linksters, which are 4 to 6 years old, and there we're just introducing them to the game. Not really, real structured instruction, just getting kids out to enjoy a fun hour or so with us, but getting a golf club in their hands and teaching them, some of the basics. And then we get into our core audience, which is the 7 to 12-year-olds, which basically are in the later elementary and then into the middle school, early middle school years. And those are our core audience. Those are the kids that we do a lot of programming with. And then we get into the teens, 13 to 17-year-olds. And what's neat about the teens is, as they're maturing, we work a lot with peer pressures that they're going to face. We also work with STEM technology, which is becoming so important for kids, especially moving on into their college years. And we actually work with them with prepping themselves for college. So the teens are a lot of fun to work with. Mainly what we try to do with any of our groups is bring the kids to golf as a life experience sport, something that they will be able to play long after their days of other sports are gone. With First Tee starting out in 1997, so we're about 23 years old now. A lot of our early kids are just coming into maturity. They're just reaching, 30 years old. So we really have yet to see the full benefits of what's happened. What we do know, as far as golf is concerned, what we do know as far as their personal growth is that through surveys that we've done with alumni, they have really given the First Tee accolades as far as how we've helped them mature as young people in preparing them for their lives ahead. And that's something that we're really proud of. 87% of the kids who have gone through the First Tee program say that the First Tee was instrumental in their success in their early 20s through college and then into their early careers. 85% of our alumni say that the coaches that they had worked with through First Tee were major mentors to them as they developed. So these are pretty cool things that we're proud of. All of our coaches that work with the First Tee, and I'm also a coach as well as being development director, all of our coaches are certified. So they have to go through 3 levels of certification in order to be able to be a mentor to our kids. We also have an army of volunteers that stand behind the coaches to make sure that they're supported and help out and, kind of keeping the kids together. It's sometimes like herding cat, if you will, but our volunteers do a great job of keeping the kids busy while the coaches are performing their duties. We're proud of First Tee. One of the interesting things that's happened this past year with golf as an industry, those of you who play probably know this a little bit, golf was on a downtrend. The baby boom generation is pretty solid golfers, but is aging. The millennials coming behind them aren't playing the game of golf. They had other interests, things started to divert their attention, and the millennials just weren't picking up the game as the baby boomers had, and the baby boomers' parents had. So the golf industry was really quite concerned. Oddly enough, and sadly enough, COVID kind of has changed the golf industry. Golf was one of the few things you could do and get out and not have to wear a mask. You could go out and play, enjoy the weather that we have in Florida or around the country, and get out and exercise and enjoy camaraderie with people. So golf has actually been on a boom. We went from steadily going down to all of a sudden rocketing up, and we hope that that popularity continues. Likewise with families. Mothers and fathers are saying, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with our kids during these days of COVID? Well, golf was a great alternative to get kids outside. So our programming has been outstanding. We have filled up all of our programming this past year. Our camps were full, our winter camps now are full, even people clamoring to get on the schedule for springtime. So we're very happy with that. It gives us an opportunity to really work with so many more kids than we ever have before. The downside is because of COVID, organizations like ours, small nonprofits, have been hit really hard. Fundraising just basically dried up. So we have only been able to go as far as our programming dollars have allowed us to do. We haven't had the funds to invest in being able to get outreach going, add new coaches to our team, and really be able to work with yet even more kids, because those funds that we need to invest aren't there. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma, if you will. When I returned here to take over as development director, I'd spent 4 years in Chicago, one of the top 5 chapters of the First Tee. And my goals when I came here were to grow our chapter, grow our outreach, grow our fundraising, grow our program sites. And by the way, a program site is golf courses, where we team up with golf courses where we can offer our program, use their range, use their putting green, use their golf course, their clubhouse. All these things are on my, that great agenda that you have when you get something started. I'm going to be a world beater and really turn our chapter into something special. And it just all dried up in March of this past year. So we are optimistic that the future is going to be great for our chapter, for everyone, that golf will continue to see, you know, a shining light with adults and junior golfers as well. We hope to be very instrumental with that, but we will need some financial help going forward. There's no doubt about it. I might as well always be honest with people. That's my, you know, kind of my calling card. I just soon tell you how it is versus pie in the sky. And we really look forward to penetrating further into Manatee County. We are at Manatee National Golf Club. We're at Rosedale, but we need to do more on the western side of the county as well. We have some talks going right now with Key Royal Golf Club out of Anna Maria. We have some help there. We may do something out there. Bradenton Country Club has shown interest in having the first tee program there, or at least entertaining to have us use the facility. So we really want to work more closely with the western side of Manatee County. And really, as far as Sarasota County is concerned, we haven't gone very south in Sarasota County, and there's opportunities there as well. But again, that takes, you know, funds to do those things, to bring the coaches in, to expand those program opportunities. But the First Tee is a great program that for 23 years has really helped kids mature, have helped kids develop life skills, have helped kids understand what peer pressure is about, understand what working together is about, understand what a great game golf is, and really sets up kids for a bright future. And it doesn't matter who they are. They can come from any means. We do not ever say no to any child for any reason, whether they can afford the fees for programs or not. We will scholarship them. We will give them clubs, as a set was just donated today. We provide hundreds of sets of clubs every year to kids to get them started in the game, which can, as you golfers know, can be a little expensive. We also work with our golf courses to make sure the kids can get out and play, can use the range, can play with their parents. So there's a lot of things that we do, as you might say, behind the scenes to make sure that kids have every opportunity to enjoy the great game of golf while they're learning these great life skills. So the pamphlet that I've given you today will give you a great overview of what I've just talked about. Any support that your club may offer would be heartfelt accepted, and we would certainly appreciate it. And in closing, just want to let you know that once upon a time as well, I was a golf pro at Elks facility in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we hosted the region's largest Kiwanis club outing every year. And our Elks club worked very closely with our Kiwanis club in Kalamazoo. And I was on the committee that we worked with special needs children up there and had all kinds of fun together. So I am very aware of the great work that the Kiwanis clubs do throughout the country. I am so impressed with your facility here. Most of my conversations have always been at an Applebee's or a Denny's, wherever they have met. But I so much appreciate what you have done here. JB, thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's been a pleasure being here today, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? So, Maurice?
How many kids you currently have?
We work with 4,000 annually in the two counties.
In the two counties?
Yes.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yes, a lot of kids.
And are they pretty much even age bracket, or is there the typical bell curve?
There is typical bell curve. Interesting, that's a great question. Right now, the classes that are filling up the fastest and are just, I've told the man, is our little wingsters, the 4 to 6 year olds. But our core audience, as the 7 to 12 year olds are our core audience. And our teen classes are also becoming more and more popular as we implement like STEM technology into our teen classes. So what we do with that real quick, you guys know science, technologies, yeah, STEM. So what we do is we do that all around golf. So we talk to kids about the technology behind a golf ball. Or we'll have the superintendent come out with their greens mower and talk about hydraulics. and plant life, and what it takes to keep the grass green and growing. We'll talk to the clubhouse about what goes into running the facility from a STEM technology point of view. So we turn it all into golf and an opportunity for kids to understand that connection between the sport they're playing and what technology it takes to play the sport. We also think that the golf industry is a great career opportunity for kids as well. If golf courses have, up to 100 employees at times. So there's lots of job opportunities. So those teenagers who are looking ahead, summer jobs, career jobs, we give them that opportunity through First Tee.
Andy, there's a question on Zoom.
Yeah.
Are you affiliated at all with IMG?
We are not directly affiliated with IMG. We are not. We know them very well. In fact, our lead program director is an IMG graduate. So Katie McKinney is our program director, but not in a business sense.
Okay, because the question was, do you know how the pandemic has affected their enrollment numbers?
At IMG, I do not.
Yeah, I didn't think. Okay, thank you.
Brett has a question?
So my question is, how is First Tee integrated into Manatee County Schools? And if you could repeat the question for the people on Zoom.
Yeah, how First Tee is integrated with Manatee County Schools. We go into, so where we start is we always start at the elementary school, and we work with the PE teacher to allow us to bring in First Tee's class, and we do it with equipment called SNAG, which is an acronym for Starting New at Golf. And it's oversized golf clubs, plastic golf clubs. We use a modified tennis ball and Velcro targets. Because the game of golf is a target sport. Everybody thinks it's a ball sport, but it's a target sport.
Starting to sound like a contest to us.
Oh, believe me, we've had good contests.
Right.
So running, shipping, driving, the kids are hitting towards these big targets, and it's also safe. You can do it inside a gymnasium and not have any problems. One of the great things about First Tee is our first code is safety. We set up safety zones, safety. I mean, safety is our middle name with First Tee.
Right.
Can you, because Max, my son, was involved in First Tee when he was younger, can you kind of describe how those 9 core values are integrated into the lessons that they learn out there on the course and how they progress through the different core values?
Absolutely. I'll give you a great example. Honesty is one of my favorites. So we will be working with the kids on their golf swing, and we'll talk about if you swing and miss the ball, and you count that, is that a stroke? In the game of golf. Now, we're not, such sticklers, but we're trying to teach them the rules. So if you swung at the ball and missed it, would that count as a stroke? And, they'll say, yes, it does, and that's right, and that's part of honesty. So every lesson we have a word of the day. One of our core values is the word of the day. Perseverance is another one of my favorites. Golf is inherently a game of perseverance. So that's one of my favorites, and we'll talk about, when you have a really bad hole, do you give up and quit? And no, you don't. You persevere. You go to the next tee, you take a deep breath, and you start over, because golf is hole by hole. So everything we do is geared around our word of the day. And then we also have our 9 healthy habits, which talks about family and other core values with healthy habits as well. So kids begin to understand about time management and relationships and things like that. That generally happens in the teen years that we do. 10, 12-year-olds a little bit, but we really concentrate on where are generally most kids mentally to handle thought processes, right? So core values, honesty, integrity, all kids can start to figure those things out at an early age, and we help them along with that.
Great.
Thank
Any
you
more
so much.
questions? Thank you so much, Steve.
I
Henry has
confess,
Oh, yeah.
I've been cheating. I didn't count that.
Well, we do.
Will you forgive me?
Yes, we would take you aside. We'd probably have to run through all the 9 core values.
so much. Appreciate it.
I just say it's my tractor swing.
This is not the golden ruler, Mac. Well, we have a golden ruler for you that we'll
Oh,
give you
fine, thank
to
you.
measure your future success at First.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Andy.
Yep.
So thank you guys, thank you everyone for attending today. We'll give it to a minute. Our next meeting, next week, as Judge Gilbert alluded to, is going to be Bradenton Mayor Gene Brown. He's going to be sharing with us his plans for continuing the prosperity of the friendly city with an emphasis on quality of life and public safety. So I hope everyone reaches out to the box office if you want to come live before Friday. If not, look for the invitation for the Zoom meeting. This should be a really good one. And with that, everyone have a blessed day. We are adjourned.
Thank you.